Hi, I'm Sunny, and this is my podcast, Creator, Created, Creating. Short and sweet mindset shifts for intentional life creation. If you want people to buy your work, but you don't want to sell it. Okay. Is it annoying that I laugh at I laugh at myself at the beginning of every episode almost? I love that. You know what? I love it. It's just me. So I just wanted to drop this really quick tidbit that I just thought about. And so there's a lot of work in the world about like overcoming your aversion to selling, right? And it's designed to get you to like, what's your beef with selling? Like root out the deeper cause of like, you need to rid yourself of your aversion to selling and etc. Right? And that's valuable. And I'm not saying that's not valuable. That's valuable because we have all these assumptions and judgments, and those assumptions and judgments do need to be examined and so that you're aware of all these judgments you're holding. So that's super valuable. And I just realized for me also, and this is not an but, it's an and, also, I don't want to sell my work. Like, I don't want to sell my work. Like, in that way. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to feel like I'm selling my work. And I talked about this recently in my Killing Your Work with Kindness episode. So this is an extension of that. But I don't want to feel that. I just don't want to. Personally. Like, I'm so happy that some people like just can get on board with sales so much that they love it and they have zero aversion to it anymore. But I don't want to feel like I'm selling my work. I don't want to sell my work. I just don't want to. Can that be okay? Yes, it can. Yes, it can. But not until I own that desire. Not until I make that desire just okay for me. Be like, oh, yeah, I do want people to buy my work, but I don't want to sell it. That's just what is. Is that desire okay? Of course it's okay. It's a desire that you have. You are consciousness here experiencing yourself as an individual human being. You are God. You are an embodiment of the divine. Your inspirations and your ideas and your preferences are here for a reason. They're here for you to explore. They're here for you to find out. So yes, it's okay. Of course it's okay. So what does that look like? Who knows? But the first thing you have to do is like, recognize that as a possibility. Oh, that's a possibility. Okay. People do buy my work. The funny thing is, this is the really funny thing. When I actually owned that desire and like was actually like, oh, that's just my preference here. Like, I actually don't want the experience of feeling like selling my work. I don't want it to sound like selling. I don't want it to feel like selling. I don't want that experience in this. I don't want that. That's not what I want. I want to just feel like I'm being me and to just have the people who are right for that work to come to me. And in the meantime, I just be me by sharing me. But it's not about selling, and it doesn't feel like selling in any way, shape, or form. That's what I want. That's my pure desire. That's where I want to come from. So when I recognized that, I was like, oh, that's how my business has always worked. Like, and that blew my mind. So I'm assuming that you already know me if you're here, but if you're not familiar with me, I have been in business for 25 years, and I started out as just doing like web design. I was a designer and graphic designer and web design, and I had a business of my own that I've run for all that time. And that evolved over many, many years. But I never advertised that business. I never posted about that business. And mind you, this was before these times. This is way before these times. But the internet was there. Obviously, I was designing websites. The internet was out there. There wasn't so much social media then. But there was like, web ads and Google ads, and there were different kinds of ads you could do. And then social media did come about during that whole thing, and there was that out. But I didn't sell my work in that arena. I didn't market. I didn't advertise. My work was purely word of mouth. Opportunities came to me through series of events, and then people would see websites I'd done and they'd contact me. So I just basically was being myself and doing the work that I was doing at that time, being where I was at that time, being who I was and doing what I did at that time. And the right opportunities and people and clients came to me through word of mouth alone. I never did all that. And then many years later, I started going to these grow your business things, and those were valuable and they had tons of value. But I got this idea in my head from other people like, oh, you haven't been broadcasting your work and selling your work and marketing and doing all this stuff. Like, oh my God, how could you? But I successfully was still in business for myself after, more than a decade at that time, like 15 years at that time. So, but I got that idea in my head, and I was like, oh, I should be being someone else. Like I'm really lacking here. I'm really lacking. And now it was true that I had an income cap at that time and I had a bunch of money blocks, but I worked on that. I worked on that separately. That was a different issue, and that was a pure desire of mine. That was a pure desire of mine to heal my relationship with money, to make more money. That was, again, my pure desire. But even that, when I worked on that just freed up my flow of money. But this other idea that I wasn't doing it right, I wasn't selling my work right, and I wasn't showing up in this kind of boss woman way where I'm like kick-ass boss woman talking about my work and selling my stuff like it's, if I wasn't doing that, then I was doing a disservice to myself and my business and all. And I got all these ideas that made me feel like I had to be something else and do something else to make my business work. And when I started believing that, it became true. My old way of believing that people would find me through word of mouth evaporated. And my new belief that I had taken on that, oh, I'm doing this wrong. I'm not doing this right. There's something wrong about me and my business and the way I'm doing things. Then I started experiencing results like that. But thank God, because the universe is so kind. And our psyche always finds a way to get us what we need. Our mind and our body and our soul finds a way for us to receive what we need. I was simultaneously doing the money work. So the money still came in. I was still totally held. I was still totally supported. But I started feeling like this total struggle with how to present my work to the world in this way that I never had before. Because now I was like, oh, I was doing that wrong. I should have been doing it this way. And that does not mean that you shouldn't talk about your work and show up with your work. But like I talked about in my Killing Your Work with Kindness episode, I need to find the way that feels like me just being me, whatever that is now. Now, it's not going to be what it was 10, 15 years ago. It's not going to be what it was 5 years ago. And it's not even going to be what it was 1 year ago. It's going to be fresh from my now. Like, how do I want to show up now? What's my pure desire? How am I right now? And how do I want to show up right now that does not feel like selling? That just feels like me getting to be me and saying, hey, I made this. and just putting it out there without any like weirdness around that. And yes, I have done a lot of inner work to get myself to this point. But also, it can shift at any time. At any time, I can shift into a different mode of being with that. So I just wanted to share that today because I was so lit up by this recognition. So lit up by this recognition, like, oh, I don't have to sell my work. Like, because that word, like that feeling. So selling embodies a feeling for me, and I don't want that feeling. That's all it means. Selling can embody a totally different feeling for someone else. Selling can feel like love to someone else. It can feel like pure joy to someone else. But to me, at this time, selling doesn't feel like something that I want to do or be or embody. It's not a good energy for me. It's not a good feeling for me. It's not me just being me. And I just want to be me. That's how I want to do it. That's all I want to do. I just want to be me. And I want people to buy my work because they want it. Not because I need them to, not because I want them to, but just because they want to, if they want to. But I want to stay in this delicious energy of, I love what I'm doing. I love what I'm creating. It makes me happy. And I can do that. So I'm going to be playing with that, and I'm inviting you to play with it if it sounds delicious to you as well. And if you have any questions about that, or you want to share something about that, you can do that at sunnychapman.com/ask. All right. See you next time. Bye. Thanks for joining me today. And if you'd like to find out more about me and my work, you can find me at sunnychapman.com.